Joe, tell us about your business and what's limiting its growth right now.
The number one thing that's holding us back is not the offer, it's actually the prospecting engine that we have. And that's what we've been really growing and working on there. We settled into a spot where we were comfortable with our client base and stopped prospecting, and now we need to again. So that's where our biggest concern is at this moment.
And what's the business?
So we run a business where we put infrastructure in place that has sales manager get more growth, more revenue, and more buy-in and recruiting. And the business is Elite Business Cruises.
So this is sales training. How would you broadly categorize it?
I want to call it sales training because we actually don't do any training. It's what we do is we're an infrastructure. We're a business infrastructure that, again, the end result is revenue, buy-in, and recruiting. That's what we are. So we do a lot of motivation, a lot of getting people on the same page, a lot of pulling towards the same goals.
Tell me about your ICP, ideal customer profile, and what you help them with.
Our RDO client is going to be a manager of a sales team in an industry where once your sales force has that skill set, they can go to any other competitor within the industry with really no issues. Like, for instance, if you can list a house for Remax, you can do it for Berkshire Hathaway. If you can sell life insurance, you can do it for Geico or Progressive. You can sell an F-150, you can sell a Tacoma. Like, once you have that core skill set, that's the industries we play in. And specifically, the ideal client we work with is the sales manager whose life improves as the sales force's numbers get better and as more people come to join his team.
Sales manager training, is this one person or is this the whole sales organization?
It's the entire organization. And again, we don't do training like give them scripts or stuff like that. What we do is we actually have four main pillars of the infrastructure, which is first, giving everyone a common goal that we're striving for that goes beyond their paycheck. Second, being able to translate what the manager is trying to teach his staff, because every single person has different reasons to be motivated to go to work and want to jump through fire and make things happen. We're able to translate the way the manager says what they say to get it in the love language of every single salesperson. And that's where the infrastructure kicks in, and it's a growth machine like crazy. So that's a lot of what we do. I mean, that's it. And then, like I said, it all ends up with this giant successful event where everyone's together celebrating on a cruise. That's why it's called Elite Business Cruises.
Okay. All right. So I'll get to the cruise angle, but I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna shelve it for now, just so I can nail down the exact problem you're solving.
Sure.
So you mentioned now 2 times that it's not training.
It's
right?
not. No.
It's not training. So So I'm gonna still try to nail it down, right?
Yep.
So are you providing software? Are you providing? You said you're not providing scripts. So when you say infrastructure, and I know you use the word, right? Infrastructure. What does that mean?
So that means at the end of the day, the sales manager is going to say, this is what I want to accomplish. Go tell my team how to do it. And then we're going to not just communicate it to the team, but we're also going to make sure that it's the optimal result, as well as give them a complete plethora of options of how to go out and recruit better to get more people within their team. See, most of the industries that we're helping, they spend so much of their time as the sales manager trying to keep their current team engaged. They don't ever get to the part of growing the team. And that's a lot of where we help them take the next level. Yes, we make all their individual people's numbers in hand, but where we really help is them not having to herd their own cats and being able to go out and get new effective salespeople to add to their staff.
So most of the value add is coming from recruiting new staff members?
Yes, recruiting new sales agents and enhancing the ones they have. Those are the two major value adds we have.
So I understand the recruitment side of things. You're going out and helping them hire new people. But the other side, improving the skill set of existing salespeople, why don't you like the word training?
It's because we're not actually teaching the sales training up front. I'm not teaching you how to say, hey, why are you on this lot? Oh, don't worry about me. I'm not here to buy a car. We don't teach them how to overcome those objections or how to talk about them. Where we're at is aligning everyone in the same goal. I mean, certainly we can, and we've done sales training in the past, but that's not the direction we want to take the company moving forward. And that's part of why we're trying to really make sure that for the outgoing conversations, it's not not the sales training world. We're a growth engine for sure, but we're not teaching them explicitly this is how you do it. Rather, getting people to be fired up to listen to the sales manager who's already great at training his people. He just has to have people willing and wanting to listen to him. And that's where our little translator comes into play to be able to have him speak the love language of his individual sales force.
I see. So it's more motivation, less training.
Yes.
I get it now. Okay. So motivation is the number one value add that you will provide. You're not going to train them because you don't want to get into like the nitty-gritty and scripts, because you're saying sales manager can do that. It's not something we want to get into. So that's the one aspect. The second aspect you said is recruiting, right?
Mhm.
Hiring new people. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct.
I see. Okay. So tell me, I'm thinking about my company, right?
Mhm.
If I'm hiring, when I think of sales, and I was like, all right, I consider myself like decent at least sales training. And if I think, well, I need to level up my game, in my head, I would think like, well, I need a sales trainer who can come in, look at my scripts, look at, listen to recorded calls, and then give me advice on how those scripts and communication and tonality, all those things can be improved, right?
Mhm.
So that's what I think as a sales director for my company. So I'm trying to understand why move away from an established niche of sales training and go slightly adjacent to it and say, well, we don't provide sales training, but we will provide sales motivation and we'll help with hiring.
Two reasons. First is you nailed it on the head. Whenever you're in a congested line and you can take that slight step to the side, you're no longer in that congested line. So that's one of the reasons as a strategic outlook from that. The second one is when you're selling sales training, and I did it for years. I mean, you look at the book over my shoulder, it's a sales training book. You're effectively saying you're not good at teaching people how to sell. And that's not the starting point I want to start any relationship with. I don't want it to start to say you're the problem, because 9 times out of 10, they're not. They just need to have a little tweak here or there. We come in saying you guys are already great at something, but the problem is that the way your business currently is set up, you're not able to spend the time on the highly productive elements of your business as a sales manager. And if your people listened to you more and actually did what you told them, they'd have better results. 9 times out of 10, that's already the case. And where they get the biggest results is people wanting to work for them, both internally and externally. So that's where the recruiting side obviously is. Because
Mm,
if you're able to run a real estate office, you know what each of your people collectively give you on average. But if I can go poke 3 other people who give me 15 extra closings each a year, I just got 45 new deals in my work without having to change, without having to make my individuals already better in the first place. And that's why, like I said, we work in industries where you can easily transfer back and forth, and we make your place the place everyone wants to sell from and therefore sell for. And that's what our real secret is. I mean, we end up turning cultures over. We end up making it, I have to work for this guy. And that's
mm,
that's the that's the real benefit we get from here. So the problems that our clients are experiencing is, I'm good at this. Why aren't I getting the results? Why are none of my people doing what they're supposed to? That frustration gone with us. We delete it, we fix
mm.
it, it goes away. And then they're able to
Okay.
do fun things, like get more fun players on their team.
Yeah. All right. All right, Joe. I think I understand. And I understand the business model now, what problem you're trying to solve. You mentioned the constraint in prospecting. We'll get to that.
Mhm,
One variable that we haven't filled yet is the goal.
mhm.
So tell us about your 3-year revenue target.
Yeah, so my revenue target for my goal is that when we're looking at how many individual salespeople we are serving, so not the sales manager counting as one thing, but counting all of his salespeople beneath them, we want to get to a spot where within 3 years that's equals at least 1,000 salespeople. That's what we're trying to get to.
Do you have a revenue goal as well?
Well, the revenue goal is directly correlated from that, but yeah, that's what would be directed from, which is having the 1,000 salespeople on the ground. Because our pricing for our service is based upon per salesperson that we're serving, and then
Hmm.
that's how the revenue. It's just a simple multiplication equation. And the reason I'm not trying to dodge your question, I just know
Hmm.
that everything lives in evergreen, and when I change my prices, people are gonna be like, "I did math. That's not what you said X amount of years ago on that great podcast."
Hmm. Okay. So you don't want to give a revenue number. You're saying stick to the
Yeah,
1,000
it's yeah,
salespeople.
yeah. And there's nothing wrong with
Okay.
that. Yeah, we're gonna our goal is to have 1,000 clients we're individually serving on the ground level, which means that, the actual amount of sales agents we're serving is 1,000. The sales managers obviously is much less than that because they'll have teams of, 10 to 100 plus.
So, and where are you right now?
In terms of that goal,
Yeah.
right now we're at about 48. So like I said, we just lost a major client that we were happy the goal used to be 100, by the way.
Hmm.
We're hitting 10x since we lost that goal that was, again, roughly 60% of our target. We said, hey, since we got to restart this thing, let's go all out. And that's why we're under the mindset it's easier to 10x than 2x. And that's why we're going for such a bigger change. We have the capacity. We changed some stuffs internally to be able to handle that. And then it was like, well, then let's go and do this. Well, let's go all out.
Okay. In terms of ranges, is the revenue in six figures, five figures, seven figures right now?
It's in six. It's
Six
going to be
figures.
an eight.
Okay. Okay. And I'm guessing 1,000 will put you in seven figures, right?
No, eight.
Hopefully eight.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. So now that we have context, so we know the business, we know the constraint, we know the goals. Let's deep dive on some of the business things that you mentioned earlier.
Mhm.
Um, you mentioned one statement that you mentioned was, um, sales managers are usually they know what they're doing. Sales training is usually not a problem.
Mhm.
um, I wanted to push back on that.
Sure.
Why? I mean, that is a broad assumption. I would argue, like I talk to founders all day, is there are a lot of people who are like great at developing things, like especially like newer founders who are like playing dual roles, like they are the founder, they're the CEO, and they're also acting as a sales director for their like say 7 people organization. And I feel like they're not good at sales.
Mm. Well, let me tell you this. You are correct. But what I said, I also said intentionally when I said that 9 times out of 10, they're not. Because what you're actually hitting upon is a mental difference. See, when I'm talking to an ideal prospect, I don't want to start off with, you're the problem, you're everything wrong. We'll get there in discovery. Yeah, we're going to find out all those issues that are there. But if you walk into a room and say, you're the reason, you're the problem, and it's a personal attack, Mr. Sales Manager, why the hell were you ever promoted? Why did you think you could sell this? It's a non starter. So, yes, inevitably, you get to any situation. Yeah, you can improve your sales because sales at the end of the day is a relationship, and there's no one way to do a relationship. It's just the way it is. So, to answer your question, yeah, I'll always be able to. I've been a sales manager and sales trainer for 15 plus years. I will find something. I have no doubt in my mind about that. But it's not how I start the conversation. Again, going to what you said before, we operate a little bit out of the main. We do that intentionally. And one of the ways, and hopefully everyone who works with us experiences throughout, is we're not here to poke bruises upon what you're already doing wrong. We're here to celebrate what you're doing great and what this could be as a growth engine. And we do that very intentionally from our own internal strategic position of stand out, and people would prefer to have positive interactions than negative ones. But again, you were correct with everything you said as well.
Mm. So it seems like it's more of a positioning, the way you want to position yourself in the marketplace, but the end and at the end of the day, you are improving their sales process. Is that
Oh,
correct?
yes. Yeah, we just don't lead with it.
Okay. And I'm guessing the reason you don't want to lead with it is also because there's a high risk that egos will get involved, and then they'll be like, well, I don't need your help. I feel like I know what I'm doing. It's just like every person who drives thinks like that they're above average driver. No one
Mhm.
ever thinks that they're below average, right?
Nailed it. Yeah.
Okay, I see. Okay, so
Yeah, and
that's
plus, I have this big sexy hook of a cruise. That everyone
right.
starts with it with a happy spot of it's gonna be awesome. Why
Yeah.
not
No,
lean into the happy vibe?
yeah, we'll get to the cruise.
Yeah.
I'm holding it. I'm holding it
No,
so
no, yeah,
people.
hold it away. I'm not trying to
Yeah,
denigrate this,
yeah.
but
It's
it can
we're
start
we're
together with that
yeah,
answer.
we're foreshadowing it so people stay till the end. How about that? How
Yeah,
about that for
foreshadowing's good.
positioning? um so the other thought that I had was, you mentioned salespeople not listening to sales manager,
Mhm.
right?
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
talk about that. Why is that the case?
On a scientific level, when we're talking like psychology now, there are roughly 20-ish different reasons you would go to work. And those 20 reasons are universal across mankind. It's a human nature thing. But every person has their own 20 in their own order, their own personal rankings. Things like your personality and skill set have a big factor into this. So, what happens is, and you guys can think about this as you're watching this, any boss that you ever hated, any of them, I can guarantee you with almost utmost certainty that what your top five motivating forces are and their top five motivating forces did not intersect at all. And therefore, on a professional level of what would make you get out of bed and run through a wall and be excited to work for this company did not exist. So, what we do is fix that. We don't make the manager fluent in all 20 languages. It's never going to happen. What we do is we're able to speak all 20 languages in a way that the salesperson will believe is their love language, that will connect with them, will make them be like, yeah, it's midnight, but I still want to keep going. Like, let's do this. And that's where we get that edge and that change. And it's all rooted in deep human psychology and how your brain's built, how all of our brains are built.
Mm. So that's under the motivation umbrella, right? So we at the start of the episode we mentioned the two value adds, the biggest value adds that you're providing is motivation and hiring, right? So you're
That's the
saying
how. The what they get is the profits, and the time. They get their profits and time back, but the how is motivation, yes.
right. Well, you motivate them, you help them with hiring, and obviously that leads to more profits, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. No, yeah. Okay. So we're on the same page. Um, can you give us some tactical advice? Like what are the things, like if someone is listening to this, they're a sales manager, what are the things they can do right away to improve the motivation in the team? So, the salespeople listen to their managers.
The number one thing you can do is try to understand on a personal, not professional level, what's actually going on inside of your salespeople. See, we had this problem that occurs that no one wants to get inside the personal life. We believe that I give you a check, so do what I say. That's not how it works. Like, if you can do one advice, know your people on a personal level. There's lots of ways to go about it, but that is the fundamental answer. And the way of going about it, I introduced two scary words to you: be vulnerable and trust them. That's how.
Mm, okay. Um, let's talk about hiring.
Mhm.
When you say hiring, is this like, what is the problem? Is the problem that the existing salespeople are not performing well, and after you try to motivate them and they're still not performing, is that when you'll be like, all right, it's time to replace that person? Or is there a different scenario of hiring that I am not thinking of?
No, that's the way that majority of sales teams currently operate. Hey, I'm expecting you to act the way that I act. It's not working. So therefore, problem town starts to develop. Sometimes, depending upon the personalities, it's explicit and fast. Sometimes it grows behind the surface, but either way, a disconnect starts growing and forming. which is why if you do any leadership studies about companies, particularly in the 60s, what made the successful ones was basically they only hired people who were exactly like them. And then therefore they knew how to motivate them because they knew how to motivate themselves. And people that were outside of that box, just, you're not our kind of person. That's not how you build a successful team. That's how you build a choir chamber. So at the end of the day, the way to grow it is to be able to connect with them on a deeper level, which is an expansion of communication skills and relationship skills, which is why it starts with understand them, and try to understand what they're going through and what they're really feeling. What are their personal goals and ambitions? I mean, that's the cheat code to all of this. And most people never will. They just believe you're getting paid, do your job.
Right. No, yeah, we covered that aspect, but
Yeah. So sorry if I
what
missed
I'm
your question then.
yeah, when do you actually decide to like fire them and replace them with someone new?
So I believe in the notion that you should have every single position directly tied to the outcome you want, to the paycheck. Most people, that's commission, or a high commission position. Um, and what you really don't do at that point is say you're not good enough. You let them make the decision themselves. I have companies where literally every single person on there has one of two criteria: they perform and they get paid based upon it, including a sports bar where we have the audience, the people who actually buy the food, rate the food. And based upon how many stars that chef got that night, it's a multiplier effect by how long they were there. So boom, that's their income. So you were bad on the fryer. Well, the fries weren't as good. You got 3 stars instead of 4. This is the pay rate for 3. This is the pay rate for 4. And people that want to be there are the ones that actually help each other. And it's amazing the culture you have back there. It's not a bunch of individual chefs all in their own little station not caring about each other. They're deeply caring and helping each other, staying on pace. It's one of the most efficient kitchens I've ever seen in my life. I'm not trying to brag, but it's because we've got everyone on the same page and we got everyone in their strength position. Not necessarily just what their skill sets are. Some are better at making different things than others, but also personality wise. Who should be the one who's the vocal one? Who should be the one who keeps the team together whenever something goes sideways? Because someone's going to drop something eventually, and all of those types of things. So there's no moment in the sand that says I should absolutely fire someone, with the one exception, which is when they're being intentionally subordinate and trying to cause problems. That's never acceptable.
Hmm. Okay. Makes sense. So right now you mentioned you have like 48 clients.
Mhm.
What are the top industries the clients are in?
Real estate, cars, and insurance.
Okay. And how are you acquiring these customers?
Well, it's as brute force as it can be. We do cold emailing, cold outreach, but the predominant is referrals. But you can't live on just referrals. That's why we have the brute force engine as well. And then
So
obviously all the SEO stuff with the website and all that fun stuff. But the predominant activity is generated from referrals and just brute force cold outreach.
okay, so you're focusing heavily on cold outreach. Does
Mhm.
that include cold calling, cold emailing? What other channels?
It's predominantly cold email and cold LinkedIn.
Cold LinkedIn.
Mhm.
Okay. So you're targeting, I'm guessing on LinkedIn, you target based on the title. You will be like, all right, this person is a sales manager. They are in either real estate or cars or insurance.
Mhm.
Then I'm gonna send them a message.
That's exactly it.
And can you give us some tips on like what's the best initial message that gets more responses?
So you always want to give something before you try to get something. So we give them answers. Um, one of the things is we have tips for the difficult person and how to overcome that challenge. Um, how to overcome when the real starting one is that we've seen the so I A/B test like crazy. So just to put that out there, we're yet to crack this code. But the one that we're currently seeing the most success with, and again, this is early in the process, is it's specifically a real estate based message. And to give context for this, if you guys have never been a real estate manager and had to deal with this, the majority of real estate agents fall perfectly in the 80-20 rule. 80% of your sales will come from your top 20% of your agents, and the rest are just kind of there to hang out. They want something to do during the day. They want to have their name on a business card, and it's not the primary breadwinner. And they just will have personalities that will have friction with each other. They know a lot of times real estate agents know everything as well. So what we've been doing is giving a piece of advice of how to deal with Barb in the back, as we just call her in the text. Um, Barb in the back doesn't listen to you, and she's ruining your meetings. The way that we've seen clients excel with this is by bring Barb to the front and then have her talk. This is one of many examples we've done to help real estate agents skyrocket. You know, give it a try and let me know what happens. And that's the introduction method. Obviously we keep it in the 300 characters and all that, but that's it. Barb in the back to Barb in the front, and let me know what happens.
Can you explain that further? What does that mean?
Yeah, sure. So Barb, I use her as an example as the person who not really engaged with your team. She's causing problems. She's more of a negative than a positive, and she's always in the back, just in the back causing problems. Back of your sales meeting, back of whatever your training session. And I say bring her to the front. And psychologically, there's a lot of things that benefit from that. When the spotlight's on you, you act better. They might have just wanted the recognition that, hey, I've done stuff. Let me talk. Let me teach. And it doesn't matter what the driving force behind her is. Actually, the point is when you bring her to the front, it shows two things: A, you're willing to listen to me, and you want help. So therefore, you're actually a warm lead for me to reach after. But you're also going to get benefit from it. You're going to see a change in your immediate environment just by addressing this. And
Mm,
then because I'm not immediately asking for a message or follow up, and certainly not asking for a sale, um, a conversation starts. So that's
mm,
normally the warm in that we start with. And then, like I said, if they just connect but don't actually follow up, we have a little drip campaign of teaching some stuff, giving some value. We do follow the rule: never make the scroller turn on. Like if your message is so big that they have to scroll,
mm,
you might as well mute yourself, because they're not going to
mm,
listen to you ever again. So we keep
mm.
things short. We keep it for that 3-second attention span, and that's how we go about it there.
Is that like a lead magnet, like a PDF link to a PDF where they have to put their email in?
No, no, we don't make them do anything. We make it as friction free as possible. Hey, this message came through my phone. Move Barb to the front. Like I said, it's been the most successful one. We only recently started testing this. I only started testing this about a couple days ago. But we've
Mm,
been seeing the connection rates increasing, and the the response messages to us. Some of it's just as simple as, "Hey, man, that was awesome. I never would have thought of that." And then sometimes we have people would give them the pushback. Why would I let the one who's the problem child come to the front to be the teacher? And then we give a chance to open up a conversation. What
mm.
I don't want is all right, I want passion one way or the other. Love the idea,
Right,
hate the idea, and then we can go from there. It's the middle. It's can't
right.
do anything without passion.
So it's more like a free tip for
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
And then
exactly.
they either interact with it or they like push back, but either way you the chances of getting a response is much higher,
Yeah, because I
right?
gave them something.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
yeah, and,
Um
and that kind of goes in vibe with the whole way I want to sell. You know, no one gets mad at Santa. Santa just gives stuff. No one gets mad
right.
at him. So at the end of
Yeah.
the day, why not make yourself more like Santa?
Yeah. No, no, we're on the same page. If you draw a pie chart of the acquisition, the way you're acquiring customers, what would be the percentage you assign to each piece? Referrals, cold emails, cold calling, and others.
So the percentage of what it is not the percentage that I want it to be. Start with
Hmm.
that. Right now, it is wildly overemphasizing from referrals. And don't get me wrong, referrals are great, and having strong referral partners are successful. And not to denigrate any of you guys out there, you guys are awesome and we love you. But the problem with referrals, as any business who's all in on them for their leads will eventually attest, while great when they happen, they are inconsistent. So if you want to truly be able to control your own destiny and be able to move the needle, you have to be doing the outreach yourself in some capacity, whether it be spending a ton on advertising to make sure you're in someone's face, or cold calling or cold LinkedIn. That's the direction we want to go. So right now, if I'm going to ballpark figures, we're definitely north of 70% right now in referrals. I want that to be down to about 30. And the spot where we're aiming to pick it up is through cold email and cold LinkedIn. Those are the two ones that relatively inexpensively we can put the gas all the way to the floor and just see what happens. Like I said, we're A/B
Mhm.
testing everything. We're not
Right.
married to a single terminology, mindset, or whatever. We're A/B testing.
Right. What you're calling referral partners, in my head, I call them affiliate partners.
Mm.
Because for me, referrals is existing customers referring other customers back to me. And affiliate partners is where we have like a business to business relationship with another business, and they refer us clients, we refer some of our clients to them.
Okay, so to do that nuance adjustment, which is, by the way, a very good nuance adjustment. Um, of that 70% that I call the original referral box, 20% of it is probably from actual clients saying, call this guy up. And the
Hmm.
other 50% is from people who are in adjacent industries that also work with my clients.
Hmm. Okay. And you have some kind of an affiliate commission structure set with them?
Oh yeah, I think we have like the most awesome one ever, and I know you're trying to keep the foreshadowing on the cruise element, but not only do we give people a check, they're on the cruise with us.
All
So
right.
when that client's there in their post success glow of everything's awesome, you're sitting right next to them as the one who told them to do this. And some of
Mm,
our best partners are the ones who give loans,
mm,
because our services aren't cheap, just to explicitly say that. And
right.
there's a lot of people who will get some type of financing option to get it rolling. And then once, obviously, we're a growth engine, we start paying for ourselves very quickly. But to get that initial over the hurdle, there's a lot of people that just do the B2B lending effect. And then, hey, everyone's celebrating together.
Right. Yeah, I had a recent guest on. He's been doing like he's in he had like a agency for like CPG products, and he does like 50 million plus or whatever in revenue. He's been doing it for like 40 years. And I asked him about the pie chart for the acquisitions.
Mhm.
And he said 100% from referrals. 100% customer referrals. So that's something we strive for in our business as well. We're at like really bad numbers. We're at like 15%. And the reason for that is because your CAC to LTV ratio is like through the roof, right? Cost to acquire customer is close to zero
Mhm.
because everyone is coming through
No,
customer referrals, and then lifetime value, is just like also through the roof
mhm.
because they people who come in, they stay for a long time because you're providing a good service.
So
Um,
we have that second part, in terms of, once someone, we do 6-month contracts, they almost always renew. The
mhm,
challenge that we have with the refer us to someone else is because people use us as a recruiting agent, and a lot of time we're stealing the people from who they'd be referring us to. So
mhm,
it's in that way not exactly a win from, and this is an admitted problem that I'm trying to focus. My clients don't get a win from referring me to the guy down the street, because now we're fighting over the same referral or recruiting engine
mhm,
versus, hey, if you're doing something with CBD, you can tell it to anyone because you don't have any negative effect from finding out who my supplier is. In this
right.
case, because we kind of become the secret recruiting tool that they have, and they're using it to get other people, it
Mm,
I haven't fully worked through that problem, but that's why I don't believe my business model for this entity can ever rely upon that as a streamlined tool. We can get within a company and grow from one of its branches to corporate internally, but to jump to an outside entity, um, I think inherently is a challenge we have with building, which is, um, I don't want to say an acceptable cost of business, but it is what it is.
Well, it might be a limiting belief because you could theoretically. So you mentioned you're recruiting people, and it kind of like the way you described recruiting people was like a limited pool. But if
Mhm.
you did have like a training component in addition to motivation and hiring, then you could literally hire someone who is not in sales and like
Mhm.
they're right out of college, and then you can train them. And now you don't have to worry about competition.
That is 100% true. However, from my client's perspective, that's a whole lot more expensive and riskier than going and taking the existing all-star off of that guy's team.
Hmm.
And that's what they want me for.
Hmm. But why
They
why
do
not
both.
make
Don't get me wrong. They do both, but it's just a whole
right?
lot faster if you can get the all-star on your roster.
Yeah. It is faster, but if you in my own experience, like I like to hire people right out of college,
Mhm.
and for very good reason, because I believe that the training that we provide in house is world class. At least that's our thought. We like to think that. And if we can train, so first of all, if we are getting someone right out of college, obviously they'll expect a lot less than hiring someone with 10 year of experience, right?
Sure.
So you're saving costs there, but then you're also using that cost saving in and improving your existing training, and helping the person you just hired out of college become at the same level at someone who's doing, like, obviously it's probably not exactly at the same level because
Mhm.
as you correctly pointed out that it does take time, right? Because you need some experience.
Mhm.
But if we can, like, say for example, scripts, tonality, and empathy, and all those components that makes a good salesperson, if we can construct a curriculum, internal curriculum training, so they can get up to speed much faster, right? This model is like very efficient and very cost effective.
Yeah, and it's even extra cost effective and efficient when you're talking about salaried based positions.
Right.
Um, 100%. Um, because you all those things you mentioned are risks. The having to get the cost savings. Well, that's a risk you're saving on. That's actually the benefit of the risk of you doing it yourself.
Mm,
Most of my clients are living in worlds where it's 100% commission. So if this guy doesn't know how to sell, it's not really the end of the world. But the reason I'm bringing him in is because they know how to sell. So
right.
that's the difference. But I 100% agree. Like if I was creating a video game company and I needed to make programmers, I 100% would have wanted to create them myself, with fresh college graduates rather than the other direction. Yeah,
Right.
because of the risk of element. Because the other part is you get to mold them the way you want. They don't come
Exactly.
in with pre-rigid conditions of this is how we did it at the old place.
Yeah. You mentioned cultural turnover and building culture. So when you're bringing someone right out of college, they're hopefully not spoiled by other companies' cultures,
Yep.
right? So that's another benefit. I wanted to move on to the juicy topic that you've been waiting to talk about, right? And I think it's time now. Let's deep dive into it. Cruises. So tell us
Mhm.
about why this cruise angle, that you have this as a component as part of your this turnover in sales, motivation, hiring. How does the cruise fit in?
Well, the cruise, when people first hear us, think that that's the end all be all. It's just
Hmm.
one of the deliverables, really, at the end of the day. But it's the fun, sexy one, so we lean into it. But where it comes into play is, as I said many times throughout here, the disconnect that we truly solve that increases the revenue and recruiting is a broken relationship between the employer and the employee. What we're able to use the cruise as is a direct straight line to no matter which of your 20 motivating factors, we can draw the cruise to. And that's not just the cruise, it's the sales structure apparatus and everything else that comes along with it. So there's a lot of ton of practical reasons why we chose the logistical vehicle of a cruise opposed to a convention in Vegas. Um, Not the least of which is we can tailor towards family and cultural preferences. We can make it that it's logistically so easy. My clients don't need to pick up a finger aside from making sure they have a passport and that they're there on time. Um, so all of these different elements are why we went with the direction of cruise, not the least of which is taxes. There's a lot of different tax benefits of having one bill versus many bills as you would if you were doing an on-land event.
Hmm. Is that what you lead with in your marketing?
Well, I mean, it's the name of the company, so Elite Business Cruises is out there. Um, but again, what we really lead in is the problem that we're solving, and what we're solving for the sales managers is we're giving them more revenue and time. Quite frankly, if my giveaway was a Porsche or I don't know, a car or a house, or it wouldn't even matter. When we first start, the sales manager doesn't care what his salespeople get. He cares that they're going to produce and that he's going to be able to stop spending time rehashing the same errors or problems over and over and actually be able to focus on growth elements. You know, and that is every industry has their own little quirks about what that means. But the reality is that's what we help and fix with. So we don't lead with the crews to the sales managers. To the sales staff, they are abundantly aware that if they perform as a team, they and their whole family are going to be on this cruise. They are abundantly aware of that.
Is this so the cruise is only for like top sales performers, or is this for the whole sales team? Tell us how it works.
Yeah, so the vast majority of commission only offices, doesn't matter the industry, what you're selling, they effectively are creating hunter gatherers. Go out there, get your kill, and we'll give you commission from it. Paraphrasing the sales process. This is the sales industry. As a result, there's a lot of times where the guy who's even in my office, he's got the same business card as me. He's competition for my listing on 22nd Street. I'm the one who's getting it, not him. So you have an internal friction that's existing. When we are done, it is cooperative. Just as I described in the kitchen I have at my bar, is that everyone is together wanting to see each other succeed. And it's amazing when that shift happens. Everything changes with that shift. They actually start helping each other. They start paying attention more. They start telling this is where referral marketing comes into play. They start telling employees who do the same thing at other shops, come work for us. It's a much better vibe. Um, and that's where everything changes. So the main success is not getting them to hit their collective sales goal to hit the be on the cruise. While that certainly is one of our successes, the main success is everyone wants to be here, everyone wants to be together, and everyone's going to do their part to get it there. Opposed to, you know what, I'm only really good at talking to baby boomers, but that's a that's a new college kid who showed up there. I'm going to talk to him anyway. I don't care if that's your wheelhouse. Opposed to now, it's like I don't care that you do talk to him. I know that's 2 in a row leads who just pulled on our lot, but that's your wheelhouse. I'll hit the baby boomer when they show up. And then for the company, it's more cars off the lot. It's better for everyone.
Hmm. So who gets to be on the cruise?
The entire sale, it's an all or nothing. Either the sales
Oh,
team
okay.
as a team hit it or they didn't.
I see.
Yeah,
It's who's paying for it?
the company.
Okay. So you're just facilitating this arrangement.
Yes, and also making it so that they will hit it. I mean, that's the other part is when we come in, we have a conversation about where they're currently at, just as you did here in the beginning with me. Where are you
Hmm.
currently at in terms of your sales? How many are you at? We give them a number that's going to be above where they're at, and that's what they have to collectively hit to be able to earn the cruise. So
Mm,
every person along the way is, in essence, paying for the crews through their increased collective production.
mm. And
So
you are facilitating it. You're so because I'm
mhm,
guessing so you have a 6 month contract, right?
mhm,
You're coming in. You come say it's my organization. 16. We have a 16 people company.
mhm,
So half of them are sales team, right? So you come in and you're like, all right, we have 8 people. I'm going to build in like a good culture. We're going to motivate. If we need to hire, we'll hire more people. And right now say we're doing 1.5 million in sales, we're going to target 2.5,
mhm.
and in 6 months we're going to make that happen, and if we hit this target, we're all going to go on a cruise. Is that the pitch?
That's essentially the process, yeah.
Hmm. Okay. How many times they don't hit the target?
Pretty rarely, to be
But it
blunt.
happens.
Yeah, it happens, it just doesn't happen very often.
Hmm.
And the cool part about this is that we've been able to overcome giant industry based "it's the way it is" problems that they just accepted. Like, for
Hmm.
instance, if you're in real estate, most agents don't show up if you're in the north during the winter or if you're in the desert during the summer, depending on what part of the country you're in. And
Hmm.
it's just accepted. It's Labor Day. No one's coming back. They'll see you in Easter. Um, and we
Yeah.
shatter that. We have people working all the way till Thanksgiving. We have people starting up the second week of January,
Hmm.
and it's remarkable.
So
Yeah,
yeah, I'll tell you a realtor story.
sure.
So we had a property in Wisconsin, and so we acquired during the winter, and we hired a realtor, local realtor. We're in Nevada, so
Mhm,
we hired a local realtor in Wisconsin to list the property, and then we said, well, we all our when we do our marketing, all our properties have drone shots. Like we have like a droner who goes there and take photos.
mhm,
Will you do that? And he said, yeah, I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. So when we hired him, it was winter. So we're like, well, it's been 30 days. You haven't taken the drone shots. And he's like, well, it's cold outside. So I'll go, when it's warmer. And I was like, we're not going to wait 4 months. You gotta, like, you have to take the photos now. And and he was like, I don't really want to, it's too cold. And then he begrudgingly goes out and takes some like random photos. And then clearly he was not really good at what he did. And then 6 months ended, that was his contract ended. And we were like, well, sorry, it didn't work out, we'll just try to sell it ourselves. And then he was really upset. He sent us a $350 bill for taking the drone shots,
yeah. Well,
which was not even part of the contract. He was just saying, well, I didn't want to take it. You forced me to. So pay me $350,
yeah.
which is ridiculous.
That that
But
that
yeah.
that is, like I said, the result, the difference of that, if you were working with one of our clients, is they would have done it, and they would have done it instinctually, and then there would have been all of the expectings. Like I said, we don't teach them how to talk better to you. We do give them tools of the trade that makes their life more better, but the real reality is they would have been on top of it. They would have been giving you updates, showing updates, regular communication of, hey, this is the reality. Like, I know you're from Wisconsin, you lived in this house, like, you get it, the snow's 8 feet high. We still got it listed, we got the sign up, we're trying, but it's reality. But the other probability is, with them out there hustling, because this is also what happens, they find a buyer and the thing closes. So that's the other part of it is, every year real estate slows down in the winter, and it's not because people don't need to buy houses. There's still estates, people still die in the winter, etc. It's There's no one to sell them. And if you could get back even some of the 6 to 4 months you punt because that's the way it is, what does that do to your bottom line? And that's a big part of what we do and help people in the real estate world, explicitly.
Here's a random thought I had when you were
Mhm.
talking about sales team being cooperative with each other and not competing internally. What if we were to like say train everyone and you know how like sometimes restaurants, instead of having tips per waiter, right? Because the waiter will like, oh, one waiter got $800 in tip, the other one got 400, the other one got 100, right? What they
Mhm,
would do is they'll pool everything together and split it across equally.
mhm.
Do you think that model would ever work in a sales organization?
Let me first hit upon the model and then give an answer, an alternative to it. The fundamental problem I see with this model, the tipping model, and why I don't have it in my own bar is because I don't want my clients to try to figure out how much they should pay someone. I want my clients to tell me what the experience was and how it mattered to them. Basic star rating. So then I control, hey, you've always been consistently getting fives. Like, dude, you're awesome. Here's your extra bonus for it versus someone who's getting a two. Because what I don't want to have is someone tearing it up and someone basically riding on their coattails. Because now the conversations I have to be are basically saying you're not doing it right or you're not doing well, which you still have in the other metric. It's just how to improve it versus step up and be like John. So that's why I'm against that notion. But that's also how I solve the problem as a salesperson. Is that at the end of like this is real where this really comes into play is the insurance world. Like I don't know who's about to have a ton of money in their 401k that I'm going to shift over to my annuity. These guys are both the same. They're both 45 years old. They both worked in a decent industry. One saved a whole lot better, or well, maybe one invested better. So he has more money to give. And since all annuity products commission are based upon the amount of money that goes into the annuity, one guy gets paid more than the other. That's a very interesting thought for there because if they're doing the same work and they're doing the same policy, um, all legality aside, I can see how that argument would make sense because you don't know which lead was coming in the door and which lead wasn't. But what I would argue from a business practitioner standpoint is try to take those random variances out and put in your own business process to be able to really nail it down so you're the one controlling the very clear and direct here and why opposed to he just got a better lead, he got lucky, or that guy just likes tipping more, or he just likes the
Mm,
way she looks. I mean those are things that the employee cannot control. You put it very clear into things the employee can control and that you want them to do, you have a better business.
mm. I wanted to transition to pricing. You mentioned you're very expensive. Tell
Mhm.
us about how you came up with your prices and why you're expensive.
Well, we're expensive because we're about to create a ton of growth for you, and 9 times out of 10 pay for ourselves. So it's kind of recapturing what we're about to give you. And we don't do a commission model in the direct sense of, hey, I'm going to get 33 cents on every dollar you make. We do it as a flat rate. And that's multiple reasons why we do that. But we do that so that someone can really, when they hit the ball at the cover, they get all that juice. We bring in a couple of new salespeople to exponentially grow their team. They capture and collect it. So what ends up happening is that we look back over a span of a couple of contracts and their profits were here and now they're way up here. Well, they're able to benefit from it. So it encourages more long-term relationships, even though we're still doing 6-month contracts regardless. It encourages more retention. And the 6-month contract is us just basically putting our money where our mouth is. We're going to keep producing. We're not going to rest on our laurels. We're going to keep doing it and bringing it.
Mm. Do you actually go to their physical locations, or is this motivation and hiring infrastructure being done remotely?
Not 9%. All of my clients only see a member of my team when they're on their ship, when they're on their actual cruise. The rest of it is all virtual. Um,
Okay,
yeah, we do this anywhere in the world. We have people in Canada, so as long as they speak English, we can help them. Because
right.
it all comes down to human psychology. It's not even cultural based. It's human nature.
Mm. Okay, so it's all the sessions are virtual, and then
Mhm,
you meet them in person on the cruise.
mhm,
That's the okay.
yep.
And how many people from your team do they usually interact with, like one company, or is it like certain people are dedicated to like a pool of clients?
So now we're diving behind the scenes of behind the wall of my entity. The way that it works is that we have one person who's the outward facing account manager, for lack of a better way of saying
Mm,
that. But the ones who are actually doing the work is a varied team. So we have teams dedicated to evaluating each individual salesperson that our client has. Then we have teams dedicated to communicating with them, whether it be via email or call. Um, so they're getting communicated from various different people within my organization, reaching out to them. But in terms of them ever actually seeing someone, just like at a restaurant, you pretty much only see the person who's delivering the food, even though there's a lot of people working behind the scenes. We're the same way.
okay. So one account manager for all 48 clients, or like 5 of them split across 48
Oh, no, no,
kind
no.
of
So,
thing?
so, 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 so the way that we have two different metrics when we look at our clients. The one is the total amount of sales agents that we are collectively serving.
Mm,
And then the next tier up is how many actual, and this is what we count as the clients, how many clients are the sales managers in charge of them. So
mm,
our inevitable goal is always to do two things: make all of those individual salespeople beneath them improve
mm,
collectively, and get more of them through the recruiting angle. And
mm.
that's the two ways that we give growth engines to our clients.
Right. So 48 is the number of
Of
sales
salespeople on the ground right now.
people. Okay. And how many are the actual client, like companies you have right now?
So right now we're at three. Like I said, we
3
just
companies.
launched this
Okay.
entity. We just launched this baby.
Okay. So
Yeah.
those three companies are talking to one account manager, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And how big is the company overall?
In
Yours?
terms of my company or theirs?
Yeah, your
Their
company. Like how many people?
Eight.
8 people, and they're all onshore?
Yeah, they're all Americans. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Sorry, I took a pause to realize what you're asking me.
um, the final topic I wanted to discuss was, you mentioned at the start of the episode, your biggest constraint was prospecting,
Mhm.
right? Can you tell us more about that? Why is that your biggest constraint?
Well, I look at a business like this as each of them have three clear and defined parts. You have to get a business to know who you are and want to meet with you. That's prospecting, at least how I'm terming it. You have to be able to, when you are meeting with them, have them want to buy from you. That's the sale part. And then you have to deliver the product. The product on the back end is the most solid part of everything we got. The renewal rates show that they want to keep coming back if they didn't like the product. Um, we're more than happy with what our conversion sales rates are. We just want to have more sales conversations, which is prospect. So that's why when I look at the three phases of the business,
Hmm.
that's the weakest. That's the one that needs the help.
Right. You need more leads. That's the
Yeah,
problem, right?
fundamentally, and that's
How,
how I view the prospecting. Yeah.
right. How are you thinking of getting more leads?
Well, like I said, the way that we've started attacking this is the cold LinkedIn and the cold emails. And we
Hmm.
did that again effectively because we look at it as we can A/B test it while before we start spending money on a direct campaign. You can do cold emails and LinkedIn. I think collectively it's less than $1,000. Long story short, it's not that much. So we can really test, hone our message, A/B it. This version works, this version doesn't work. Keep playing with it, blah blah blah, and then obviously you'll get clients from that route, but we'll really see what's getting the attention, and then if needed, we go into the paid route. Facebook ads,
Hmm.
Google ads, whatever the case might be. That's the ultimate direction. But right now, like I said, we're in that spot of not wanting to waste money on advertising that I have personally seen across my own history can go really expensive and get no results.
Hmm.
That's a once bitten, twice shy admitting of this business owner.
Right. You have like one person dedicated to just doing cold outreaches every single day. Is that how you're tackling this problem?
Oh, it's an automated machine now. We go in and we'll change the language that it's going to spit out, but it's a machine. We actually went out and, like I said, we looked at our entire prospecting engine from the start and realized it was all referral based. That was basically where we were, and that was not good.
Hmm.
We did a lot of networking, a lot of stuff to create more referral partners, and it felt like we were doing a lot of good activity because we were constantly talking to new people, but they were all people in who weren't our buyers. So while it was great to talk and, hey, this landed well or this made sense and all of that, it wasn't really truly moving the needle. And we went out and literally created 2 machines that
Mm.
are just doing this type of generation.
What do you mean by machines? Are you talking about AI bots or like programs or what is it?
So what we did is it's computer-based program, so start with that. It's
Okay.
huge. It took months to actually just talk to we talked to AIs to create it because they did all the coding because we are not
Mhm.
coders. We
Mhm.
are people who can understand human nature. We can't code.
So it's like
But
an AI agent?
it's more than that.
Okay.
So what this can do, is it can go through any business interaction, so our business emails.
Mm.
This is someone you had a conversation with and you said you were going to do something, or they said they were going to do something in return. Well, that didn't happen. So instead of us missing that conversation and letting that momentum die, this will automatically reach out to them and it's going to say, hey, we're going to be connecting with this person, sending them this message within the next 48 hours. This is the message we're going to send. Do you approve or do you want to change it? So there's always a human touch before it goes out the door of
Mm.
seeing what the message is. But what it's really, really designed to fix is something that I see all the time in my clients. I see it in the sales industry as a whole, what I call shiny object syndrome. While that 80-20 rule is normally true for your clients as well, 80% of your wealth comes from 20% of your clients. The other 80% still give you wealth and they can grow into something awesome. And especially when you're building a product that is so has such a high retention rate, it adds up. So that was one of the things that we really focused on from a strategic mindset of, it doesn't matter that this guy doesn't have 30 sales agents today. These 4 collectively have 30 sales agents. At the
Mm.
end of the year, they're still going to renew twice and it counts as 60 sales agents. Like, just work on it all. And that's what these machines that we build are doing. They're
Mm.
communicating and outreaching to everyone. They in
So
themselves are probably incredibly valuable. I didn't want to, I'm not going to sell them, but they are.
right. So they are like looking at potential prospects, potential leads that will be a good client,
Mhm.
and then they look at their profile and they construct the initial message, and then you have like a human say yes, this looks good, or no, it needs modification, and then the machine sends it. Is that the workflow?
It's close. So we have each of our people give an extensive writing sample of how they communicate so it can
Mm.
understand and talk like them.
Ah,
It
okay.
does not go and review their profile. It goes off of what your conversation has actually already been with this person. So it will
Mm.
know the baseline of, like, for instance, how you communicate in general. And then it'll
Mm.
see how you have already communicated with this person. What little changes did you do? Because we all act a little bit differently with everyone else, whether we
Right.
mean to or not. So, what are the little nuance changes that you do with this person? And we're going to continue them. And we're going to pick up the
Mm.
little changes that this person's bringing to you so we can mirror them. Again, our whole thing is understanding the psychology and being
Right.
able to relate and connect with people. And there's a lot of that baked into our system. So
Right.
no two people are going to get the exact same message because of that. And then, like I
Right.
said,
Y- y- Yeah, no, I understand that part.
mhm.
What I'm like struggling to understand is these. So you're basing these machines on existing conversations. So you have already started a cold conversation with a lead, right?
Yeah, well, this engine, yes. So this specific engine is for people you have met at least once. Yes, that
Right.
and it's
Right.
normally at networking events and stuff like that that you just take the
Yeah.
recording of and get a
Right.
transcript,
Right. Right.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I was asking was like, how do you like for cold? So this would technically be a
Oh,
warmish lead, right?
yeah. So for the pure icebergs,
Yes.
there's 2 components. First, I'm dealing with sales managers. Every single one of them leave their information public because they want their clients to come find them. So
Hmm.
basically, it goes out to the internet and it collects. And then it will respond to them accordingly, either via and also we use Sales Nav for the LinkedIn side, to answer
Right.
that from before.
Yeah.
So and that cuts the corner tremendously. That is worth the paid service for. But like I said, that's the two ways. We go and get their publicly made information, and then we do some of the A/B testing that you asked me about earlier in the day, like bringing Barb from the back.
Hmm.
And that's like I said, that's some of the stuff that we go out and hunt and gather with ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you looked into doing more like organic educational content? Like right now you're doing like one-to-one education and tips. Have you looked at doing like a YouTube channel or a live stream or shorts, TikToks, Instagram, where you're just publishing like one to many instead of just focusing on one to one?
So this is going to sound like two contradictory statements. Collectively in my life, I have been on over 2,500 podcast dash media appearances, whether it counts actual TV, podcasting, audio, YouTubing, live streaming, whatever. Um, I do them all the time. So that's the factor, including this show. I'm not sure I ever really get a true direct lead out of any of them.
Mm,
The reason I do them is there's a massive credibility piece. I can actually see what this person's going to do, believe in, etc. A lot of them is that. So when you talk about should I create my own channel dedicated to elite business cruises, it's not something that's on the tip of my mind. Um,
mm,
we do have we are a platform at the end of the day. I mean, we're hosting events for people. We have had people say, "Hey, you guys got a bunch of real estate agents coming on this cruise, right? Like, can we sponsor the event and talk to them?"
mm,
That's up to the clients to decide. But so we've created stages for people in the past to say this is why you should write your loans through me, for example. Um, but in terms of creating one explicitly for marketing outreach, it's not something that um, I'm leaning into at this point. Again, having
mm.
created 9 different podcasts over the history of my life and only 2 of which are still active, I know what it goes into it. And I have tremendous respect for what you're doing, and your multiple camera angle thing's amazing with your notes and all of that. Um,
Thank you.
I've seen how much the marketplace has changed in just the audio podcast space since 2017 when I launched my first one.
Mm,
And I'd personally rather invest my own assets, my own time, money, and energy, particularly the time and energy,
right.
into joining people who are already excellent and amazing at it, like you are, than trying
Mm,
to come up with my own version of doing that.
mm.
So I'm sorry for that being possibly the longest answer I gave you today, but that's my take on it. I
Yeah,
think what you
no,
guys are doing is amazing.
yeah, no, I understand. It is a fair point, like because you also have like you like recently started, you have limited resources, limited time, and you want to focus it on things that you're already good at and you already know works, as opposed to jumping into like an unknown channel. So I totally respect that. Um, Joe, this has been great. Lot of cool ideas you have shared with us. If someone is watching this, they're like, "Well, Joe seems like a cool guy. I really like that cruise hook." It is a good idea. It is a cool idea where you're motivating the whole sales team to hit something, and they get to go on the cruise. So if someone's watching this, they're interested in this idea. They want to reach out. What's the best place?
EliteBusinessCruises.com. It's straightforward.
Mm,
Just go to EliteBusinessCruises.com, and you'll see in there immediately a form. Hit it up, and then either myself or a member of the team will be in your inbox and in your screen doing our own video conference.
Joe, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me.